Hey everybody, this is Perch. As you know, the She-Hulk show is coming to Disney Plus, and I did a reaction video, and then it got of the trailer that they put out like a month or two ago, and then it vanished. I don't know what happened to it. It didn't go. But the basic reaction to that video is like, oh man, I hope the CGI is not done yet. Turns out it was done, and this is just going to look weird. Now, I can say that, and in saying that, I am not attacking the creators, the hard animators, the CGI artists that put in long, tiring hours at substandard pay to do this. Those are two different things. The people who worked hard. I fully believe that if you're getting a job doing CGI for shows, there's enough information out there to know you're not going into a happy place. And the passion of working in Hollywood or working on Marvel certainly is what pulls a lot of people through. It's the same thing that the game industry, frankly, exploits with a lot of people, where you see these stories of, hey, I worked long hours in grueling conditions, no thanks, no pay, everything else. And yeah, I mean, that's absolutely true. I've certainly looked at the game industry. I've had partnerships with different game companies in the past. It's not a happy place to be. And you kind of, on one hand, you should know that going in. But if your heart's there, your heart's there. Just know that a lot of these game industries and a lot of these Hollywood companies, they know this. They know that it's a passion project for people, and they will exploit it. Quite frankly, it's why Marvel is reportedly, in many cases, now lowering their page rate again below the $50 mark for certain stories that they do, which is absurd. But they know there are people who will line up to write for Marvel. And I think I remember at a con like 6 years ago, an editor kind of joking that if they could get away with it, they would charge people to actually write for Marvel, because there are people who would do it. There are people who would show up and say, I will. I mean, quite frankly, all joking aside, you, the person listening to this, if Marvel said, hey, we'll let you, write an issue of the Avengers, just give us $20 a page, I'm betting some of you would fork over that cash to do it. I mean, now granted, the story you write might be, Comics Nick's level of, quality, but still intentionally to kind of screw with Marvel. But some of you would do it. The companies know this, and they exploit people. So anyway, the She-Hulk controversy has been going on. And here's the moment. So basically what happened was that some people started tweeting, as is pretty common in these cases, particularly when people attack the CGI. So when the Sonic movie first came out and the CGI looked super, super weird, you saw a bunch of animators kind of come out of the woodwork saying, hey, our job sucks, life sucks. In many ways, because they're trying to distance themselves from the project they're working on, and I get that. But that's, it happens every time. So She-Hulk, people are coming out. One of the guys said, tweeted out, working on Marvel shows is what pushed me to leave the video FX industry. They're a horrible client, and I've seen way too many colleagues break down after being overworked while Marvel tightens the purse strings. And that's absolutely true. Now, the weird part, by the way, I just want to point out there that when people write this kind of stuff, what's amazing is how people come in to leap to the defense of a multi-billion-dollar corporation of like, well, I hate to inform you, but it's bizarre. I'm always blown away by people who jump in to defend super successful companies and or people. It's like people who jump in to defend Beyonce over somebody saying there's too many writers on a track. Or, I mean, even some of the bigger YouTubers, I'm amazed at the little cult of personality that run out there pretending that these people with 100,000 plus subs and there are people making millions of dollars in campaigns, and you see their legion of followers out there like trying to cry victim if somebody says something mean about them. Like these people are doing fine. People who are successful they do not need you running to their defense, but a lot of people do for Disney. This, hey, it's your own fault. You worked on it, it's just bizarre. It's like, you can't blame Disney for this. Well, I mean, you can, but keep in mind, Disney can get away with it. The reason why these rates are so low and job conditions are so shitty is because they are having no problem staffing those companies. There is no job shortage. At any rate, the She-Hulk team came together to discuss the show's CGI. And a bunch of people did articles on it. BuzzFeed ran with the She-Hulk creators, discussed the show's questionable CGI, and they made a good point. All right, well, what is that point? And the point said, basically responding to stories from people who've worked on Marvel's visual effects, painting a picture of unreasonable deadlines, grueling work hours, and even bullying. So what's a good way to respond to that? Well, star of She-Hulk, Tatiana Maslany, said, I feel incredibly deferential to how talented these artists are and how quickly they have to work. Obviously, much quicker should be given to them. That's a good way to respond. That's saying, hey, there's a bunch of people complaining about this. People are suffering. I'm a star in this show. I'm not going to crap on the show because this is my show. I want to support the company, but at the same time, I'm going to say, hey, these people are very talented. I tip my hat to them. They do their great job, and they work hard and they should have to. That's a good way to do it. She continued, I know there's lots of eyes on the CG and critique or whatever. I do think we have to be super conscious about work conditions aren't always optimal and that they've made these amazing stories in the industry and the tech. Amazing strides in the industry and tech, she continued. Okay. Again, that's a benign kind of statement. Fine. That's when you're in this position, you don't go to war with the people who are complaining. You don't go to war with the people who are pointing this out. You just let it go. That's pretty good. Producer Kat Carrillo echoed Tatiana's thoughts, saying, we stand in solidarity with what they say. The truth is we work with them, but we're not behind the scenes on these long nights and days. All right. That's also a good statement. Saying, hey, we support these people. Again, these are benign statements. These aren't balled up with like cash or change, but, the producer of a show or the star, the actress in this show, they don't have the power to change working conditions. So what they're doing the best they can, which is just trying to be relatively nice and supportive. All right. It's a massive undertaking to have a show of this scale where the main character is CG. It's a very overwhelming and ginormous thing to take on. It's terrible that a lot of these artists feel rushed and feel the workload is too massive, says creator Jessica Gao. All right. No problem. Okay. So all these statements are relatively good. Except this one. Here's the one that is the kind of moment. And this is almost where you're seeing all these people make reasonable, good statements about we stand with the artists. We hope that it's terrible about these conditions. We definitely feel for them. We realize they're working night and day. They can't change the conditions. So they're doing the best they can. So you're going through all this and you're like, wow, these are some people attached to the show, not making the situation worse, not like, it didn't take a left turn into blaming white nationalism for some reason. So, hey, no problem. Except we get to those last, here's like the like, oh, you were so close. And then you had to take it to a weird place. Why would you do this? So director Kat Carrillo says, this is a cultural lose-lose situation they find themselves in. I do think that it has to do with our culture's belief in their ownership of women's bodies. God damn it. This is terrible CGI. What in the world? Okay, so the exact quote is this. In terms of CGI being critiqued, I do think that has to do with our culture's belief in their ownership of women's bodies. I think a lot of the critique comes from feeling like they're able to tear apart the CGI woman. There's a lot to talk about her body type. And, we based her on a lot of Olympian athletes and not bodybuilders. But I think if we'd gone the other way, we would be, what the hell? Why would you open up? You're doing so good, just benign statements. And then you want to talk about just critique is because somebody's trying to attack women, but in this case, not women, CGI women. What in the world? Technically, would this be because it's all code? Is this a binary woman? This is a non-binary. Anyway, it was funny because I felt like the She-Hulk people, as they were coming into this, they're in a bad situation. Their own team is complaining about hostile conditions, bad pay, terrible stuff. The CGI does look super, super weird. I'm sorry, no matter what. You put it out anyway, but she looks strange. She looks like, the application Poser from 1998. It looks funky. Okay. I'm sure those people did work hard, and they did, and I feel bad for them working long nights to produce this kind of stuff. You're working for rent and food on your plate, and so that's not fun. The result does look uncanny valley like weird, And so the people come in to kind of defend it, and they do the best they can, say we show solidarity with the workers, please watch show anyway, everything else. And then you take a left turn into wanting to make a statement about toxic fandom going after people owning women's bodies through CGI She-Hulk characters, and you're like, God damn it. Can't what is wrong with you? Anyway, I feel bad for the creator. Obviously, the workers, it's tough. But at this point, if you're going into games and movies and this kind of stuff, you have to know that you're going into industry where you're going to be exploited. That is the name of that game. Anyway, I don't know what to say. There you go. Have a happy weekend, everyone. Thanks for listening.